Patreon.com/the Walk-Off Podcast. $4 a month gets you in there. All right. Next one comes in from Instagram. Dylan DM'd me and sent the link to a jaysjournal.com article. I'll link to it in the show notes here if you want to have a read. But it's basically 3 reasons Ricky Tiedemann won't make the team this year out of spring training. The 3 reasons being lack of experience, the competition, and service time manipulation. So Dylan wants our thoughts on Ricky Tiedemann not making the team. What do you think, Scott? Is Ricky Tiedemann going to make the team out of spring training?
We're the worst guys to ask this. I mean, last year, 2021, when there was all the talk of Alek Manoah being called up, both Adam and I were vehemently against it. We both hated the idea of bringing him up, and it had a lot to do with the fact that he'd only pitched about 60 innings in total in pro baseball. There was the COVID year where he was off. But I do feel very strongly when it comes to Ricky Tiedemann that there is no way he makes this team out of spring training. And it's very likely we do see Ricky at some point in 2023. I don't think that scouts within the organization have been as high on a guy in years. I think there's more optimism and hype around Ricky than there was Alek Manoah. We haven't seen this type of hype since Big Nate, right?
Mm-hmm.
There are some pitfalls and downfalls to rushing a guy, and I mean this with the utmost respect, but he's 19, and I'm not slagging 19-year-olds. I'm not saying that there aren't some 19-year-olds out there with the mental fortitude to take the jump from AAA to the bigs, but we were just talking about that. It is a mega jump, okay? The difference between low A and high A is big, but it's not huge, okay? High A to double A, big but not huge. Same all the way up, but it is a huge gap from AAA to the majors. Ricky Tiedemann is young, and he has 74 pro ball innings under his belt. Last year, he moved up all 4 ranks. Incredibly impressive. But there's no reason. There's no reason to rush him. And I think that Jay's Journal nailed it with service time manipulation, right? Because even if they wait until, I think it's end of April, they get a full another year. It only makes sense. This is a front office that has proven time and time again, they're all about asset management. Why are they going to jump the gun 3 weeks? Even if he has an amazing spring, they've got all the leverage in the world because it makes sense not to rush a 19-year-old. So if you're the organization, of course you're going to lean on the excuse you have, right? You don't want to make it obvious. If Ricky Tiedemann was 23, this is a different story. And I think that's very important for everyone to keep in mind who keeps using Alek Manoah as a comparable. Alek Manoah was 4 years older. That's not nothing. 4 years is a lot.
It's certainly not nothing. Also, I do think that the competition, I guess, was point number 2 Jay's Journal made, is a different situation that Tiedemann is facing than Alek Manoah was. The starting rotation in 2021, that was Alek Manoah's rookie season, not as good as it is this year.
No, it's not.
So we had Ryu, Ray, Matz. Remember Tanner Roark?
Yeah.
Before he got
The
DFA'd about
engine.
5 games into the season.
Big Diesel.
And then Ross Stripling, and this was Ross Stripling coming off of a swingman season. He was not approved. Like Ross Stripling now, Jays fans look back and go, wow, that that was not the Ross Stripling that we were looking at in April of 2021.
Yeah, 100%
and then
it wasn't.
And Steven Matz. So another kind of a reclamation project there. Now, Robbie Ray, he went on to win the Cy Young, but also good, not great as an option. I think we felt pretty good about our top 2, and then after that was question marks. Nate Pearson is even on this list from bluebirdbanter.com. projecting the 2021 Blue Jays starting pitchers. This is from March 31st. This rotation is not, as of yet, desperate the way we were in mid-April, late April, early May
Listen,
of 2021.
you know what I think? You know what I think, Adam, is far more likely than seeing Ricky Tiedemann is seeing Yasser Zulueta stretched out and ready to go and not make this team out of spring training. But I think that if there is a spot to be filled in this rotation, I think Zulueta has the upper hand on Tiedemann at this point.
I think so too.
Zulueta's 24 years old. He's got more pro innings under his belt. He has dealt with a ton of obstacles in the last few years when it comes to injuries. And I just think that a 24-year-old making that jump who has already had a bunch of things to overcome is a far more attractive option in a scenario where bad tacos hurts this rotation than pushing Tiedemann, a 19-year-old with limited innings. And again, Tiedemann is going to get his chance. I know there's going to be comments here that take this as we are anti-Tiedemann getting the call up. That's not the case. I just don't think there's like if I had to put money on it, I would put 0% chance Tiedemann makes this team out of spring training. Like I don't even give it a 0.1%.
All right. I would give it a non-zero chance. Whatever decimal point that is. If he pitches
Ross Atkins.
Look, if he oh man, what he would have to do in spring training
for them to give up a year of control. Think about that. Over 3 weeks, dude. Over 3 weeks. If they just wait till May 1st, that's a full year.
Look, if he's hitting 100 on the radar gun, if he is blowing by everyone in live at bats, if he pitches against the Yankees in spring training and just buckles Aaron Judge the way Alek Manoah did his first time against him in the big leagues, if all those things happen, it's still probably a 0% chance he makes camp with this team.
Exactly.
But if, God forbid, aliens come down and abduct Kevin Gossman, Alek Manoah,
yes,
and there is just all of a sudden 2 desperate holes, and we're like, we don't know where these guys went. We literally don't know. Then we probably should probably use Ricky Tiedemann this year.
I really like this. My percentage is 0%. You gave it a 0.1%. And
whatever the math is on alien life
in your
universe.
Scenario. Yes.
Sure. Okay. This is ridiculous. But I think even beyond service time manipulation, I think just in terms of like protecting their asset, this is a kid who hasn't really like pitched above high A even yet. I know Alek Manoah didn't either, and I get that. But I wouldn't be surprised if Ricky Tiedemann starts the season in Double A.
Special talent. Let him dominate. That's the thinking with a lot of this.
So much better to have Ricky Tiedemann dominate in Double A for 2 weeks and then go, oh, okay, that was a mistake. We got to bring him up to Triple A now. Then have him go against Triple A hitters and struggle, even just look human against Triple A hitters.
Adam, can you really quickly pull up his innings from last year just so we can take a look? I know he got the call up to AAA at the end of September. I'm fairly certain is when it was. Ricky Tiedemann here. I just am curious how many.
Did he pitch in AAA last year?
I'm fairly certain he got the call up, but let's double check that. Maybe it was just AA. But I'd love to see his
innings pitched. Ricky Tiedemann 2022. 30 innings in Dunedin. 37 innings in Vancouver, 11 innings in New Hampshire, no innings in Buffalo.
No innings in AAA.
So he pitched 78 innings last year, 67 of which were in A ball. So I wouldn't be surprised if he started with New Hampshire. Even just for like one start.
Just let him dominate. Let him scare some of these kids in AA and then bring them up. Again, AAA is filled with wily veterans.
Yeah.
That's why AAA is such a good next step from AA, because AA tends to be where all of the true prospects are. You know, if you've got a really high ceiling, you're most likely going to get the call to AA. But AAA, there's a lot of the guys that are kind of yo-yoing up and down from the bigs, right? The guys with options, the guys with a big league experience. Maybe they're trying to stick with a team, whatever
Guys
it
on
may
rehab
be.
assignments.
Exactly. So AAA, you know, give Ricky a couple of games at AA, let him feel incredibly confident, and then let him go face some wily veterans. And maybe he does dominate. Maybe he does Alek Manoah this, and there's a bad taco or two. Kikuchi's struggling. Like, there are scenarios where we could see Ricky Tiedemann in June or July. But also those scenarios scare the shit out of me, because it means that the sky is falling and it is not good news. It's like when Alek Manoah got the call up, right? Like, I think if there were better options, they wouldn't have rushed him, right?
Yeah.
There was just no other options.
And we got lucky. It worked out as well
We
as it
got
did.
lucky.
I mean, for every Alek Manoah, there's a
King
Nate
Alek.
Pearson, right? And I kind of, that's part of the reason I'm leaning towards, like, let's just stick him down in AA, is even just to kind of slow the hype train on this kid.
Mhm.
And I got no reason to believe that personality is an issue with Ricky Tiedemann. So let me just get that out of the way right now. But maybe it wouldn't be bad for his development to just like humble him a little bit, or just to like, just for the way things went with Nate Pearson. And we always go back to this, where he was like doing those MLB network, you know, and like
Interviews.
Hall of Fame bust.
Yeah.
What are you going to put on your plaque when you go to the hall, like
Yeah.
in Cooperstown? It was like, that didn't pan out so well.
Some things about AA. The average
Okay.
age of a AA player is 24 years old. Ricky Tiedemann is 19. He's 5 years younger than the average age. I just think it makes a lot of sense to slow our roll a little on Ricky and let him force the hand, right? And that is
Hold
something that
on.
this
Just
organization
let me
has
just
done. I'll let
clarify.
you finish. Yeah.
Ricky Tiedemann is 20 years old. He'll be 21 this year. So this still the point still rings true. He is substantially younger than everyone at AA, but I just know people are going to rip us apart in the comments if we don't clarify. He's not 19. He's 20 and will be 21 well before the end of the year.
Right. No, that is correct. I wasn't doubting you. I just wanted to see when his birthday was, but yes.
All right.
Nonetheless, everything I say, I'm still sticking by it. One
No,
extra
hey,
year doesn't do anything for me.
No, well,
I mean,
yeah,
it does, but
I'm just. This is why they pay me the big bucks, Scott. Is
keeping me in line. I like it.
I do age as well. Well, this has been a terrible end to what was otherwise a pretty good segment. So let's move on from there.